So, Doc, do you ever take melatonin?
No. Sometimes if I'm traveling in terms of different time zones to help re-regulate the ultradian cycles and circadian rhythms, then yes.
Yep.
And you'd want to take that roughly around the time that you would go to sleep.
Yep.
At whatever time you're traveling to. And you'd want to start that a couple days prior to on that side. But when your body naturally produces melatonin, especially within the pineal gland, that's where if you're able to re-regulate your internal mechanism of how you're able to more or less acquire your own melatonin, if you can optimize that, there's not as much need to take supplement use.
If you are struggling out there, I think that is a place you should start first. Not what supplement do you need to purchase next to help you with your issues.
Start in the grocery store and Whole Foods before you look at the supplements.
Yes, 100%.
Welcome to the Functional Code, your go-to source for decoding optimal health. Join Dr. Addy and Dr. Jace as they break down the science behind pain, performance, longevity, and more, making complex concepts easy for you to understand and apply in your life. Your journey to a healthier you begins with understanding the Functional Code.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Functional Code. We are excited to bring to you guys today a new episode. We're going to be talking about supplementation. Not only all things supplements, however, should you be taking certain ones? Are we actually over-supplementing as a whole? And what are some things that you need to think about before choosing the supplements that you have? As always, I am Dr. Addy.
And I am Dr. Jace. Yeah, we're going to go into a few different things in terms of evidence-based supplements. What are some red flags to be cautious for when choosing supplements? And then also, what is the difference between whole foods and supplementation? And why should you care about that? As we go into some of this, even at the end, we'll touch on some of our favorite supplements that we take. Maybe not every single day for years on straight, but that we like to utilize for ourselves and the reasons why. So we'll get into some of that as well. Yeah, Doc, I think this is going to be a fun one as we dive into this.
Yeah, I think it'll relate to a lot of individuals.
Oh, for sure.
I learned a little bit about a routine change after reading some of this. It makes a lot of sense after we dive into it. I'm curious, Doc, about yourself. Yes. I'm curious to hear about what kind of supplements you'd like to choose, because I think most of you know that it's definitely something that can change your life if done right.
Yes.
We know if you've been to a functional medicine provider, or if you've ever tried to just start to get a little bit more healthy and start to use more supplements. Yes, I think most notice either some type of change, but it may take some time.
Yes.
But I am curious to see what supplements you like to use, because I think a lot of individuals are looking for at least a little bit of an edge to get started if they're trying to change their life. But I also know that there are plenty out there who are spending more money than they need to.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And it's wasting maybe the budget that they could be putting towards something else that pushes the needle of their health in a better direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, like they see something online, oh, that may sound like something I need.
For sure.
Then they add it to maybe a bunch of things, and then, there also can be one supplement and another one not interacting well with one another.
Yep.
That can also be a thing that most people don't realize.
Yep.
And even dosages, which is a whole thing we'll probably get into.
It is, and I think that's another big thing. It's are you getting the therapeutic dose of that supplement, which I know Dr. Allen talked about on our pod a long time ago.
Yep.
And he goes, if you're going to actually take this supplement, this is the amount you should have been taking.
Yes.
So you've been taking it for how many months, and you weren't even getting a good amount of dosage to make a therapeutic change to your body. So
yes.
It's tough because there is so much information out there, and there's so many products out there, and you think if they're putting it out there, they must know what they're doing. And if you are buying it, then it's got to be good for you, right? If it's online and people are promoting it. So I think this is going to be a great foundation for people to how to fact check certain supplements, what they need to be looking for, and then what are the goods and the bads, and how do we get after it. So
yeah, and those that are listening, pay attention as we're going through. There's some crazy stats that Doc was bringing up prior to that.
I didn't understand it at first, but after rechecking to make sure that these were studies that were done, and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about them. So I think for the first and the foremost, I wanted to start with multivitamins, because I do think that's got to be one of the most, if not the most commonly used supplement. And so I pulled up some information regarding multivitamins, and it said that approximately 1 in 3 adults in the United States takes multivitamins. Obviously, they're using it for a plethora of reasons. Most, they want to just think that it gives them an overall health boost, is my guess.
Sounds right.
But what they found, this was 2019 meta-analysis, involved nearly 1 million participants, found no substantial benefit of multivitamin use on survival or heart attack risk. Now, I think this was a retrospective study, so they weren't able to, it wasn't a very high quality study.
Yep.
But if I just, from what I've learned through my time working with patients and listening to other providers who you've used supplements, I've used supplements, not many choose the multivitamin right away to give a patient. I really don't feel that the experts in this field are ready to give a multivitamin right away to change someone's life or help them metabolically.
I haven't heard.
What have you heard or found?
Yeah, I feel the same way. It depends on what the person has got going on. Then you supplement for the needs based on their lack of function. You almost target the lowest hanging fruit to raise their health for quality of function more so. But even, I guess, looking at this study specifically, obviously, with a lot of people not noticing the effects, where are the other things involved with this retrospective study in terms of how is their other nutrition? Because whatever they eat and consume is going to have way more of an effect than the supplement that they have. It's not going to necessarily counteract too much.
100%.
Too, but
for bioavailability too.
Yes.
We can gather much more nutrients from a whole food diet versus supplementation.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the gentleman who sold Venmo, Brian Johnson, the blueprint guy.
Yep.
So I wanted to bring this up today because I know this is something that happens very often, which is you have this person who's incredibly fit and doing amazing things with themselves, and it is. There's no arguing what he's done if you look into what he's been doing. He's reversed his biological age about 25 years. He is incredibly fit and healthy, and it's amazing what he's done. However, he spent, I think, $2 million a year on his body.
Yep.
Okay, so there's that. He takes, I think, over 100, I think it's 126 supplements a day.
I know he says take about 50, at least capsules, like at least one part of the day.
Yep.
I heard that.
Yep. We're thinking, okay, do we want to emulate him? Is this something that everyone could emulate?
Feasible.
Gosh, no. I wouldn't recommend you to ever try to start with 126 supplements a day. If you want to get there, sure, but for just the general population, that's not something we should model.
Yep.
Now, to say he hasn't done great things, no, we're not arguing that, but then he goes and starts to sell his blueprint supplements, blueprint everything.
Yep.
And now you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to be like him. I'm going to do what he's doing, and now I'm going to get reversed aging and like all these other things. And I don't know if he's as much of a salesman as he is just kind of a trailblazer of longevity.
Yep.
But he is selling, and unfortunately, I think it's easy to get misperceived with what he's been doing and what you're about to buy from him. So it's just things like that I get a little frustrated with.
And I know in the past when we brought up the fact that anytime someone sells a supplement, you have to be cautious and worrisome. And yeah, to your point, incredible person, but like a lot of the stuff that he takes, when you spend $2 million a year, you're going to be doing blood work, you're going to be looking at your deficiencies, and yes, that may work for you, but if you're selling that blueprint, is every person deficient in that?
No.
No.
And then you have Liver King, same thing, you know,
the whole thing.
selling his supplements.
Yep.
The Carnivore MD, he's selling his supplements, but he preaches a whole food diet.
Yep.
But yet, it's just
Some
trying
variability.
to take more of that logical question, second guess approach to be like, all right, why am I buying this supplement? Am I trying to get what he has? Because I can already tell you if they are shredded, completely shredded, it wasn't from supplements. It was from dedication and discipline.
Yes.
With a great diet and exercise at least probably 4 to 6 times a week for years.
And here and there, maybe some other stuff that you can't really get your hands on.
Exactly. I'm not going to speak for Carnivore
everyone.
MD, but for Liver King, yeah, we know. We know it was unreal. We know he did steroids.
Yes.
So in that effect, you just have to watch out for yourself and try not to allow that to waste your money, your hard-earned money, on something that could be going towards organic food and things that might move the needle a little quicker.
So true. Each person has to look at it from an individualized standpoint. You have to see how you feel with certain foods. That's where you want to check and see what sensitivities you have,
Yep.
in addition to what you want to take moving forward and
Yep.
consume. And then how does that differ from you and your family as you go to the grocery store together?
Yep.
That's a whole thing in itself. But
And that's a great needle mover because
Yes.
support, all those things.
100%.
So the second one I have is weight loss supplements, which there isn't a lot of evidence on weight loss supplements. Claims such as fat burning, metabolism boosting, appetite suppression often lack robust scientific backing. Now, I know that there are some supplements out there that people have taken, and it has moved the needle in that space.
Yes.
But we're about to get into one study that I showed that actually showed some of those supplements having drugs in them. And more than likely the reason why you gained the change you did.
Yep.
So again, just be cognizant. Lastly was vitamin D and calcium. Now, both great supplements for certain reasons, but in regards to bone health, actually the evidence is quite low, and it shows that efficacy in fracture prevention among older adults has been questioned. We would argue that fracture prevention is much more of a musculoskeletal, maybe balance issue than it is lack of supplementation.
For sure.
And there is also question of the calcium getting into the bone.
Yep.
Bioavailability, how good your body works. You can take and take, but if you're not actually absorbing it and getting it into, that's also not going to help you. But
100%.
vitamin D itself, I think we're about to find, is still a phenomenal supplement and one that I would recommend people to take. But just, it's how are you going to use it is the big thing.
Love it. Yeah, especially vitamin D, K2, they work really well together. But like you said, we'll get into some of that as well.
Yeah.
So, very
So
smart.
touching on what I just talked about as far as what is in your supplements.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'll see if I'll jump right to the one that we were talking about just because I know it's on everybody's mind. So adulteration with pharmaceuticals between 2007 and 2016, 776 dietary supplements were identified as containing unlisted pharmaceutical drugs. There was notably 86% of these unadulterated supplements were marketed for weight loss and sexual performance, with many containing prescription medications without disclosure.
That's
So,
incredible.
And I think what a lot of people need to realize is there are companies who do take very rigorous, we'll call it protocols,
Yes.
to regulating and making sure that what they put into their supplements are good for you, healthy, and not only are free of heavy metals and contaminants and everything like that.
Yes.
But we also need to realize that there is no real regulation with supplements. Their FDA does do their best to regulate these labs
Yes.
that make them, but in regards to standards and regulations, there is none because the FDA doesn't really have a approval process yet for
It's a
supplements.
wild west
Yeah.
out there.
So can they tell labs to make changes to their good manufacturing processes? Yes. And can they go in and say, okay, how you're creating or taking certain whole foods or animals or whatever they're getting from to get their sources? Yes, they can change that. But the real regulations are still, there's a lot that is missed. And
It's probably why it's easier for people to come out with their own supplement line. I know we looked into it.
there's
It's actually quite simple.
tens of thousands of, I don't know how many products, and it's only getting more. I feel like every influencer is coming out with their own supplement line every day. And when you look at it, it only really comes from the top 10 companies that own all the supplement companies, more or less. There was another study that showed investigations revealed that some protein powders contained unsafe levels of arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury.
Oh my gosh.
The 2015 New York Attorney General's office found that 20% of herbal supplements tested from major retailers contain the plants advertised, meaning 80% didn't, indicating widespread mislabeling. However, the methodology used in this investigation was later disputed, though. Okay, that didn't help us then.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still.
When it comes to liver health, that was another thing that you and I just talked about.
Yep.
And the statistic for all liver failure, drug-induced liver failure was a certain percentage of it, and 20% of that was due to herbal supplements.
Liver failure.
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah, and
Due to supplements.
again, I'm not quite sure how much of the liver failure statistic comes from drug-induced liver failure, but to still think that 20% of it. Now you got to think of it too. This is also including probably alcohol, Tylenol, other things like that, which do account for probably a lot larger statistic. However, 20% is still a large statistic.
Yeah.
And I believe the study grouped all of the herbal supplements together as one stat. In that, I know it was curcumin was one of them, green tea extract, ginkgo biloba, black cohosh, and kava, and kratom. So what that means is kratom maybe was 2% of it, and curcumin was 2%, and the other ones were 5%, and it added up to about 20%.
Wow.
So it wasn't that 20% is just from curcumin. That's something that people also have to just take as the statistics. But what it does mean is it can happen.
Wow.
It can happen. If your body is not clearing the supplement and it's staying in the liver, and it can cause issues. Some of those supplements that I recommend, or just suggested, I would never recommend. Black cohosh, never. Kava and kratom are really high risk. I would never. Curcumin, though, I love.
Yep.
And I know those who have cancer can have a tougher time clearing it, so there's always like this question of, hey, just so you know, this can happen. You just have to be well read before you take these things.
So true. And then what is the case between some of these with proprietary blends as well, and how they put a few of them together as one? That's a whole nother thing.
That's important too, because when you read the proprietary blend on the back of the label, we start to question, because the proprietary blend is a way that they can basically take a label and subdose with the blend. So they can say, okay, this blend contains 550 milligrams of something, and in that blend is all these things.
Yep.
And you are expecting to receive something therapeutic in this blend. But what really is more the case is they take a small part of the active ingredient that they want in the blend and then fill it with just other things and say that this is a proprietary blend of this amount and this is what you're getting. So the real problem is also with seeing this proprietary blend label on supplements, which again allows these companies they protect their formula, number one, but that lack of transparency now, you don't know if you're getting a good dose, because the dose is now hidden in the label, because you don't really know what you're getting. Is there safety risks with that too? You don't really know what's in the blend, so there's protection. And then again, that just leads you got to make sure you're informed when choosing supplements that have that.
100%. So even certain individuals, like let's say a 10-year-old is going to be a lot different than a 65-year-old.
For sure.
And then you have to look at the weight difference as well and how they're able to absorb it, male, female. There's some differences with that too. And
I would say for me, when I'm going to go and purchase a supplement, the last place I'll purchase is on Amazon. And for this reason here, they did a pretty large look at supplements sold on Amazon. And they did try to quantify the exact percentage of either counterfeit or mislabeled supplements, which they actually had a really hard challenge to do that. They really, just because of how many supplements are on Amazon and how many are continued to be put every day on there, like they really couldn't. But what they found was experts recommended looking for supplements that have been third-party verified, indicated by seals from organizations like USP or NSF on the packaging, because these observations were important in regards to buying supplements online as potential for encountering substandard or misrepresented products that exist. Now, I know that there are other supplements that are sold on Amazon that some companies have done third-party testing on, and I believe the first one was immune supplements. And so this was, just to rewind, the totality of what's out there on Amazon, they couldn't study. They couldn't really figure out what the percentage was of supplements that were mislabeled on Amazon. So they said, okay, can we at least go by category? And so they did. So this was for immune supplements. They took 30 dietary supplements marketed for immune support on Amazon. Over half had inaccurate labels, 17 of the 30. 13 of the products listed ingredients not detected during analysis, indicating misbranding. So they said, basically they said, this is in the supplement on the label, and it wasn't. 9 contained undeclared substances, potentially unadulterated. Again, more pharmaceutical or drug-based.
Yeah, this was 30, but can you imagine if you multiply that at larger scale?
So
Or
this
over
alone was
50%.
55%.
Yeah.
Okay. Next was done on SAMe supplements. This was done by Now Foods and conducted internal testing of the 24 SAMe supplements sold on Amazon October 24th. Results showed 23 out of 24 products failed potency testing relative to their label claims.
Almost all.
Almost all. That was almost 100%.
Wow.
16 products contained less than 20% of advertised potency. These findings, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And even with some of this is not towards Amazon by any means. They're obviously a distributor, but when you look at where most people get some of their supplements, you have to take all this into consideration.
I feel like that's the first place people look for supplements. They want to get a better deal. It's quick, shipped to them.
Yep.
I don't argue the convenience.
Yes.
I just argue, can you get it delivered from the actual company, maybe to get started, or you learn how to read labels.
Yep.
And make sure you protect yourself.
Which we might.
Because
we should do a podcast on that too.
we should.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But you're also giving these supplements to your kids. That's another thing.
Yep.
That's or someone you're caretaking. Maybe you're trying to help your parent to feel better as they're getting older, or if they're going through something.
Yes.
This is important.
So true.
For general supplement, they did I think it was a multivitamin or just overall quality. Now Foods did 2017.
Yep.
They found generally most were low potency, had fraudulent labels, high microbial contamination, and elevated heavy metals. And then predominantly found in products from lesser known brands. Again, highlighting the lapses in quality oversight. I would say, you got your top 3 or 4 that I would feel comfortable letting people choose from without any worry. Thorn.
Yep.
It's a great high quality
That's
one.
usually my go-to.
Standard Process is a very high quality
Yep.
one. Pure Encapsulations.
Yep.
What else? Gosh, there's so many out there now. But Integrative Therapeutics is a company that I worked with that I thought they were great. They're now with Nature's Way. Gosh, I'm trying to think of a few others that I know that are great. So next is weight loss supplements, which we already know we found can contain a lot of adulterated or pharmaceuticals in them. But this was an assessment of 44 weight loss supplements sold in the U.S. 82% had inaccurate label claims. 61% contained ingredients on the labels that were not present in the formula. So what do we recommend after all this? Please seek third-party certifications, again, NSF or USP. Before starting any supplements, discuss it with a healthcare provider. Those providers have done their due diligence to find the best ones that are safe for their patients, safe for you. And choose a more reputable source when buying supplements. Amazon is not the reputable source. Go to the company itself. There are a standard process. Actually, every seminar you go to, they tell you that they don't put their supplements on Amazon. It is all wholesale bought and put on Amazon by another person. And they try to stop it. Yeah,
Yes.
they try to stop it. They don't want their supplements on Amazon.
Especially when you go to the extent of what they do. I know we both have been to the
Yep.
facility, Standard Process, and this is Wisconsin, I believe?
Yes, Wisconsin. Yep.
Yeah. And you see how rigorous they go in terms of how they don't want contamination.
Nope.
They make sure everyone's in whites. They have the proper attire
Yep.
going into the facility.
The labs are pristine. I mean, it's a phenomenal
clean.
facility. It's a phenomenal facility.
Yeah, and you even see the farms and how well they can grow the natural blends that they make and to put into supplements, and how the whole process is incredible. But
It's organic too, I think.
Yes.
It's organic whole food farm. Yeah.
They have to go through a lot of testing to make sure that they are able to even put that organic on the label. It's like when we're talking on some of this stuff, you want to make sure that what you're buying is actually in the supplement. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
And this, if you hadn't hear some of the stats, it's quite shocking on what's out there right now.
I know. And it hopefully just gets you to either realize that there are better ways of doing this, or just to be more cognizant before you try to buy something quick off of an internet influencer or someone pushing something you know nothing about. So
100%.
yes. Doc, I know we want to talk more about labels themselves. I loved this segment that you're going to bring up here, red flags with supplement shopping, how to spot misleading labels. So what are some things that you look into, and what are some ways that people can protect themselves when they are choosing supplements?
Absolutely. So when you go into what are red flags, you want to see especially on the labels. Now, what that means is, okay, is it actually saying what's in the bottle, like what we've been saying all along here? But you want to see what's clinically proven. So the ones that don't have studies, let's say it's a supplement brand. Let's go back to Amazon. You notice that there, okay. I would take it a step further. Do they have a website? If they have a website, awesome. On their website, is there clinical studies related to the certain supplements that you want to buy or take?
Yep.
If it doesn't, I would be very questionable in terms of, are you buying what they're selling?
Yep.
Quite frankly. Next, you want to look at all natural and pure, can also be somewhat deceptive. Yes, it may sound good, but at the end of the day, you have to go to the hard facts. You have to go to the research itself on what they've been done.
Yeah, because all natural can be confused with organic.
Yep.
But if you see the organic label, it's different. If you don't see the organic label and it just says all natural, that's just unfortunately poor marketing.
Yes. Or good marketing on their part.
Good marketing, but
poor reading on
malicious
your part.
marketing is maybe the better word.
Stated on that one for sure. And then even with some of the stuff in terms of hidden stimulants and unsafe ingredients, when you're looking at any stimulants, especially that have maybe caffeine in them, you want to make sure that if you're taking other supplements that you're not creating a poor internal environment for yourself, which can lead to other negative effects long term as well. Let's say, for example, you're taking Adderall or some type of stimulant and you want to get more energy, you feel lull in the afternoon, you take, let's say, a caffeine or another supplement that has more of a caffeine boost. There could be other symptoms that can present from there. That's quite common nowadays as well. Now, in terms of especially exacerbated dosages, and a lot of this will come back to the proprietary blends and whatnot, but what they found in a study of 2020 at Bailey, supplements might list high in milligram values, but they often include non-active filler ingredients in addition to that. And that then goes back to the proprietary blends. That definitely can be a problem.
So they fill it with only a small portion of the active ingredient.
Yes.
But they put non-active filler in the. That's so annoying.
Just to fill it up to make sure it looks
annoying.
like you're taking the whole pill and what's.
So they list that yes, this has, for maybe this is a poor example, but so much milligrams of magnesium, but only a small percent of it was an active form of magnesium or something like that.
Yes.
God, that's just annoys me. That really annoys me.
It's incredible. I mean, I'm sure it comes down to costs.
Yeah, it is for sure. I'm sure the active form is much more expensive. Obviously, it's better bioavailability. I'm sure it's just,
It's incredible. When you look at the proprietary blends, some of the problems can be like lack of transparency, like we said, mislabeling, and then masking some of these harmful additives that quite honestly can either create, and when you look at even from the perspective of athletics and people in sports, if they are, especially the NCAA, if they need to be off of any banned substances, if you start taking certain supplements and then you get tested, some of this stuff can show up and you might not even realize it.
It has happened to other athletes I know. Some people argue that there's a couple MMA guys who got caught with PEDs, and they said that there's absolutely no way that they did anything.
Yep.
Tough to believe them, but they say Ryan Garcia was one of them. He said he did not take any Austrian. He didn't do anything like that. I was actually listening to a podcast saying that he was a doctor who did a lot of work with athletes, and he said that there are sometimes athletes who get tattoos before they get tested, and it shows trace elements of Austrian in it.
Oh, interesting.
And he said that's something that Ryan could have had happen to him.
Wow.
Was he went and got a tattoo, and but it had Austrian in it.
I had no idea. Interesting. So what's Austrian?
Austrian's, it's a SARM. It's a selective androgen receptor modulator.
Sure,
So it's much more potent. It's similar. It's not really similar to a steroid, but it has the same effects. Yeah, but it's
Okay, I
tough
can
on the
see
body.
that.
It's not very good for you.
Especially when you know that tattoos can get deep into
Yeah,
the skin.
it's just. But
obviously.
it's interesting. Like all of these products out there that you don't even know what's in it. Did you know your tattoos might have Austrian in it? Something that literally affects your hormones.
Wow.
Yes, it's a little scary.
Learn something new there. Dang.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You want to definitely avoid proprietary blends unless the company gives a full list of ingredients transparency. But even then, you have to be still a little cautious on
Yep.
what supplements you want to take. And then look at trusted third-party certifications, especially ones like USP or NSF, or even Informed Choice. They also really, those are some of the higher quality third-party testers in the space. But a lot of this will come back to what you put in your body matters, and whole foods at the end of the day is going to be some of the better choices for you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think a whole food supplement it carries a lot of weight to maybe better bioavailability, and I just think even I'm starting to get more interested in like an organ supplement, ones
same.
that contain from straight from the source. Maybe is it freeze dried? I don't know, but
Yep.
I do think those kinds of supplements, for some reason, to me, it seems as though that they would be more efficient, more bioavailable. I haven't really looked into it, but
I've heard freeze dried is a little bit better
Is- okay.
bioavailability
Yep.
and easier for them to put into the supplement form. Yeah, but
got it. That's good to know, actually.
absolutely. Doc, in terms of supplements with strong or high quality research supporting more human use.
Yeah,
instead of
so
animals.
we've done a good job of telling you not to buy supplements.
Yes.
So here's our best job to tell you which supplements are for sure still great for you. They have been researched as far as supporting good use in humans, and it just but again, don't forget how to buy these supplements, right? Number one, folic acid. Now, folic acid supplementation, the studies go way back, even into I think the 80s. Those who were taking it reduced the risk of neural tube defects in infants, and that was something we learned in school. That was one that has
Folic
been
acid.
pushed for many years. What they're finding though now is there are better forms of folate, and that you should be looking to maybe take that versus just the synthetic form of folic acid. Some people argue that the synthetic form of folic acid can actually be harmful. I don't really agree with that. I just think that more and more people are not able to convert folate into, I think, what it needs to be converted into due to the gene mutation MTHFR, which is like it's a modified gene expression that some people have, and they're actually saying that up to 40% of it might have it in the population.
Wow.
So instead, just take an already methylated form of folate, which you don't need to worry about the conversion then, which is called methylfolate, or 5-MTHF, or 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. All of these are still just a methylated form and can be helpful, more bioavailable for that purpose. The only thing is, I think, is a little bit more expensive, but in the terms of it, if it's actually helping you, I think it's worth it. Next would be vitamin D. So other than just what some people think, vitamin D isn't just for bone health. Vitamin D has been studied for immune system improvement.
Yes.
It's been studied for mood, like improving your mood and depression. There's even some studies now coming out showing enhanced protein synthesis, metabolic change if you have a higher amount of vitamin D. Cancer, I know that those who are studied that get cancer, a lot of them show up as being vitamin D deficient. There's so many different things. I think vitamin D is by far one of the most important supplements that people need to be taking, especially if you're not in a place where there's sun all the time.
Oh gosh, yes.
But even if you are, I still think you should be taking it. Get tested first if you need to take it. But that's one that I take. Doc, do you like vitamin D?
Oh, I take vitamin D,
Yep.
K2.
Yes, K2, yep.
It just helps quite a bit. Even for, I know you said mood, I can tell when I'm definitely off of it. If I don't take it for a few days, I can tell. And I look back, okay, what have I done? Why am I feeling like this groggy feeling? I'm not saying like that's completely it, but it definitely contributes quite well.
Yeah.
Especially for the whole maintenance of your tissues, body, musculoskeletal system.
Yeah, 100%.
Everything there.
I think it's important. I think that's one you can take without any real concern.
Yes.
Next, we've omega-3 fatty acids. These have been studied. I think there are even pharmaceutical companies trying to create a omega-3 patented drug so that they could prescribe it and get reimbursed by insurance companies. I'm telling you, like it's that effective. It's that helpful.
Well, yeah.
Great for high triglycerides. Also helpful at reducing heart possibility, like a heart attack, any heart risk. It's great for inflammation.
Tissue health.
Yep. You name it. Healing, plenty other things. Next would be, I know, right? Next would be iron. This is more for women who are iron deficient. That has been shown if you take iron and you're deficient, obviously we can absorb it well. Hopefully. Some have issues, but most, if you do, iron levels will rise, and it's very important, especially if you're pregnant or if you have stronger periods where you're getting more blood loss, and that's usually another reason why people would take it.
Yep.
This one, it got put on the list. Probiotics. There's actually a tremendous amount of research on probiotics showing change for certain things. I think there's a time and a place for probiotics, and I think using a practitioner on your side before you start them is important.
Pre and pro.
Yep.
Biotics,
Yes.
ideally, yes.
I'm not a fan of them, but I know a lot of people do think they're important as far as providers go. So I'm not going to talk ill of it. It is very well studied and has shown change in a lot of people.
My 2 cents with pre and probiotics, anytime you use any type of steroids or antibiotic for a longer periods of time, even for just one bout, you would then want to supplement pre and probiotics to help replenish the gut microbiome, because that can get depleted when you use some of these harsher drugs, which
100%.
obviously will help for certain symptoms and what you go through in terms of sickness, but you want to make sure you get back to homeostatic regulation a little bit better.
Beautiful. Next, zinc.
Ooh, yes.
That has actually been shown to reduce duration and severity of the common cold. Not by much, but there is some statistic significance with that.
Yes.
I know it's great for the immune system, and that's what a lot of the studies have been done on.
If you notice trends of people getting sick at certain times of the year, that's when you'd want to more than likely add this into your supplement count from that side of things.
Magnesium, probably one of the most commonly studied. It actually is, at one point in time, was the most deficient nutrient in the world. So I don't think there's much question about whether you should or should not take magnesium. There's a good chance you probably are deficient.
Yes.
It actually was even shown to improve insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetics, which isn't a particular common study for this type of supplements. Mostly it's sleep improvement, just overall general health and well-being. I know it's even been studied for improving bowel movements, a lot of other things like that.
There's a lot of chemical processes that use the magnesium within the body, so which can make sense and why it can be depleted easily.
Absolutely.
For most.
Next, CoQ10, coenzyme Q10, shown to improve individuals with heart failure. It's very heart protective. I think that's something that everyone should just take in general. Some argue that ubiquinol, which is the precursor to CoQ10, is a much better form. Some argue you can just take both and at the same time. Regardless, I still think it's a great supplement to take, and I do take it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think it's one that I have a family history of heart issues, so I just want to be protected and prepared. But yeah, from what I've read on it, I definitely take it every day.
How early would you start taking it, or have you started taking this in your life?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Okay.
Sure. Yep. It wasn't. Yeah, earlier on, I don't think it's too much of a concern. Once I hit my 30s, I got a little worried, but yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, cool.
This one's gotten some different perspectives
yeah.
on, which is melatonin. I know some people who live and die by this supplement. Others, we're still trying to learn more about it. But by and large, they have now a pretty good amount of research on melatonin, which does help with regulating sleep-wake cycles, can improve sleep itself. Some of the studies even show insomnia can be improved, other types of sleep issues. So, Doc, do you ever take melatonin?
No. Sometimes if I'm traveling in terms of different time zones to help re-regulate the ultradian cycles and circadian rhythms, then yes.
Yep.
And you'd want to take that roughly around the time that you would go to sleep,
Yep.
at whatever time you're traveling to. And you'd want to start that a couple days prior to on that side. But when your body naturally produces melatonin, especially within the pineal gland, that's where if you're able to re-regulate your internal mechanism of how you're able to more or less acquire your own melatonin, if you can optimize that, there's not as much need to take supplement use. But I can see people that travel for longer periods of time, and like you said too, that have insomnia. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah. I don't either, and I don't think I have ever tried it.
Oh,
I don't even think I've tried it. It's not that I'm concerned about it, but I'm just so on the same page with you of I just want my body to be wired 100%
Yes.
to do it itself. What things is just limiting light before, like after about 7 p.m. for me. I don't have blue light blocker. Actually, I just bought blue light blockers. I need to start wearing them. But those are great to throw on at 7 or 8 right before bed. We do a lot of red light at home instead of actual light, which can help get us ready for bed. And then just keeping darkness after 7 p.m. really just helps cut out any and all light. Starts getting the body prepared. And then I know you talked about too getting proper sunlight once you wake up to regulate that system. Also very important.
It gets to be on like an internal clock timer to where it starts regulating at about a 16-hour, I believe it was, time scale, to where then it starts that clock to regulate for your next night's sleep, whatnot. But yeah, I even remember in graduate school when the professors he had a whole melatonin supplement, and he took half the bottle in one sitting.
Ooh.
And he said there was no change.
I've heard that too.
I don't know. That's a bit sketchy. I'm thinking he's probably leaning towards the reason of it's probably not going back to the supplements, probably not saying what's actually in the bottle. But I mean, he had no.
Or he just was not
side
that healthy,
effects.
or maybe
Could be a
his
bunch of
sleep
things.
regulation was horrible. Or
Yeah, I just remember him thinking, why would you ever take that for the purpose of? I don't even remember what the lesson was. I just remember him and asking the question, why would you do that to yourself for a point? But
no idea.
weird. Anyways.
Lastly, I have glucosamine and chondroitin on here, which,
Yes.
yeah, it can be helpful with osteoarthritis, but I actually want to add creatine.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I've been taking that every day for a very long time.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still my favorite.
And if those that don't feel like they can consume creatine, it's also in a lot of meats.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, they even have gummies available now to make
Yep.
it easier to take.
5 grams a day is a minimum. There are some studies now showing more can actually help with protein synthesis.
You can go up to 10
Yep.
with no negative effects.
Yep.
And I don't even know if there is a negative effects at all with 5 grams.
I doubt it. It was weird how even 7 grams compared to 5 they did showed some change too. Yeah, no, creatine, big push. I would love for you to start taking that. I bet you'd feel some effects if you.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, especially performance wise too.
Yes, and a lot of people are going to think, and I was talking to my wife and her friend as well, Michaela, and they're like, okay, when I took this way back when in high school, I started getting like this water weight bloated, but I don't think there's as much effects from that side as it is more of it's helping, yes, absorb water to a certain extent because your body is made up of mostly water, but it then helps for the brain health, for neural processes, memory. There's a lot of research on the brain and memory and cognition side of things, more so than it is even performance enhancing.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that also has been dismissed, that it's such a small amount of retention. I don't think it's anything that you should be concerned about.
Agreed.
I think the pros versus the cons are pretty heavily scaled towards the pros. So
For sure.
all right, so now what are weak or low quality research supplements that support human use. So multivitamins, like we talked about, really don't show much change in risk, reducing the risk of chronic diseases or mortality. Next, vitamin E really didn't show any change in cardiovascular benefits, or I don't even want to go into the rest of it. I'm just going to go through the list here. Beta carotene, ginkgo biloba, which again was ginkgo biloba. That was one of the ones that was causing liver failure for herbal supplements. Echinacea, that can be used for immune system change. It's not to say that it couldn't, because I don't mind echinacea, but what I think the research showed was it really didn't reduce the time you had the symptoms. But to say it doesn't make change to the immune system, it does.
It definitely
It's
does,
just, we don't have enough evidence to show its support yet. So what are some other ways that you maybe could improve your immune system during that time?
It's probably not a needle mover, but it can help.
Exactly. Garlic supplements didn't have a lot of research. Vitamin C, which for prevention of common cold and like those kinds of things, it wasn't that helpful. Now, vitamin C for other things can be helpful. Detox supplements, weight loss supplements, testosterone boosters. And I just want to end with testosterone boosters. There are a lot of people pushing supplements for testosterone boosters, and it is not a needle mover when it comes to actually regulating that part of your hormones. So if you do have an issue with testosterone, supplements are not the place to start. If you have enough of a, let's call it a want or a need to really change that part of your body, I think hormone replacement is where you should start instead, if you truly want to make a change there.
Definitely through a physician. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those supplements can be very spendy too.
And I just don't think they're a needle mover. I just want to end on how can you move the needle without supplements, and is it possible? And so this is just a collective of information that I wanted to end with to really help have people understand just how much you can do by yourself with diet and exercise and not have to spend so much money on supplements. So cardiovascular disease, there was a study done that showed up to 90% of cardiovascular diseases may be preventable by avoiding established risk factors. Things like engaging in a healthy diet, regular physical activity, managing your body weight, controlling your blood pressure, reducing cholesterol levels, and abstaining from smoking. Nothing on there was a supplement. This is just, and I know a lot of people understand and know this information, but if you are struggling out there, I think that is a place you should start first. Not what supplement do you need to purchase next to help you with your issues.
Start in the grocery store and Whole Foods before you look at the supplements.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
Next, same thing with maintaining a healthy lifestyle, showed to associate with an 82% reduction in the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Over 30% of cancer cases are considered preventable through lifestyle modifications. A lot of it is tied to tobacco use, but also obesity, low fruit and vegetable intake, low physical activity, alcohol consumption, sometimes sexually transmitted infections, and air pollution. Stroke, up to 80% of strokes can be prevented due to the same thing, adopting a healthy lifestyle. And lastly, this was a heart disease study done, and it showed, this was actually, it was a longer term study, and it showed that maintaining a low body weight between 18 and 25 BMI, regular exercise of 30 minutes of walking or equivalent 5 days a week, a low fat diet combined with 5 portions of fruit and vegetables, moderate alcohol consumption, which is 21 or fewer units per week, and they found that 73% reduction in diabetes, 67% reduction in vascular disease, 35% reduction in cancer, and 64% reduction in cognitive impairment and dementia. So
Moderate alcohol.
I know,
consumption
with moderate alcohol consumption.
Wow.
I just want everyone to know, if you're gonna take supplements, don't forget the big 5, which stress, sleep, diet, exercise. There's got to be a 5th one in there. I feel like there's a 5th one. Was it 4 pillars or 5 pillars we talked about?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. We'll call it meditation. It's still more important than supplements, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. No, that's funny with that study. Even walking 30 minutes, 5 days a week, that's still such a low threshold.
Yes.
Yes, you want to maintain body weights, a lower BMI. fruits, vegetables are definitely important. But then when they added in moderate alcohol consumption and even showed reduction in diabetes, vascular disease, cancer, cognitive impairment, like that's still, it shows the weight of how like nutrition and regular movements have a huge effect on just maintaining your body long term.
Yep.
Incredible.
So Doc, what
Please.
supplements do you take?
Yes. So I go in seasons depending on the time of year and if there's sicknesses and whatnot with that, because then I can add in either vitamin C, zinc to a certain extent. On a consistent basis, I definitely take omega-3 fish oil. Incredibly important. I can definitely tell recovery-wise with workouts when I'm not taking it. Let's see what else. Creatine for sure. Every day. I can absolutely tell an effect, especially irritability and mood-wise, and just mentally there if I'm not taking it as well. 5 grams minimum. I've kind of experimented. I've tried 15 grams for a week straight. Didn't notice too many effects, but dabbled that a little bit.
It shows the same in its studies that some don't find a change and some do.
Yes.
But they do report like more regulation of protein synthesis with more, but the actual feeling of it, people don't really notice too much.
For sure.
So it's tough to know.
Interesting. So yeah, each person might be a little variable on that side. Let's see here. I do vitamin D K2 on a daily basis, especially, and sometimes I add it in if I'm outside on a hot, like Arizona day, then I don't take it, or if I know I'm going to be outside for a few days straight, then I don't put it in there. But the days I'm inside in the clinic, I absolutely make sure that's in the cards as well. Oh, goodness gracious. Vitamin B complex supplements. And I vary that depending on, but I go through Thorne and standard process. Because if I'm going to buy anything supplement-wise, I want to make sure what I'm buying is in that supplement itself. And those are the most tested companies that have everything blended in. There's other stuff in terms of certain things that necessarily can't talk on right now because of the promotion that we've talked on previously with other types of medicine.
Yes.
I feel like I might be missing one or two, but yeah, that's where I'm at there. What about you, Doc?
So I just did this ginormous blood panel on myself, and it worked out really well. I got to see some, we'll call it deficiencies, and so I changed up my routine a little bit with that. I've taken so many supplements over the years that I can't even begin to tell you. I was grateful to work with a functional medicine provider for many years, and so anytime I needed something, we tested myself for it, and I did the supplement. So, gosh, I've probably tried over 300, 400 different types of supplements. It's it's crazy. But what I've found is through that journey, nothing moved my needle more than regular exercise, eating enough protein, sleep, drinking enough water. I have actually dialed down my supplements quite a bit because I've found that focusing on that has improved my health much more. However, I still do think we do need to compensate for either a lack of nutrients in our diets because of certain soil quality, all the other things, and just I tend to eat a more carb and protein based diet.
Same.
So I don't get as many nutrients on certain ends, which showed up in my blood panel. I am now taking, it's a fruit and veggie kind of a powder that has a lot of fiber in it. That's one that I added in because I tend to avoid fruits and vegetables. I'm now adding that into my meal prep as well, but that was one that showed up that I had a lot of markers that were negative for byproducts, and that you need to have to show good heart health and all the other things. So that's one that I added in. I take magnesium, I take vitamin D, I take curcumin here and there for pain. I love omegas, CoQ10. I take a methylated B complex because my sister tested positive for the MTHFR expression, and they say it's very common in families who have. If someone has it, more than likely everyone else has it. So now that I know that, I always get a methylated form of the Bs. And there was a couple others that I added. I did. Every now and again, I'll throw in, it's from Seeking Health, it's called Liver Nutrients. 10 years of heavy drinking definitely took a toll. I can still tell I'll get certain liver symptoms. So when I notice that, I'll put in those supplements. It tends to help. Milk thistle is one of them. Taurine. What else is in that one? Glutathione. Some other things like that. And then, so taurine was another one I've been low in. So I added taurine into the mix because I tested low on all of that byproducts. And then I'm going to start playing around with some other ones. NMN is one that I wanted to play around with, the longevity supplement. I was thinking of adding that in.
Yes.
And gosh, what else? If I didn't say magnesium already, I take that.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Yep.
Magnesium, and we were going through, there's definitely amino acids.
Yes.
I take that quite a lot.
Yep, I used to do amino acids. I'm out now. I gotta get some more. And then I do take a pea protein isolate.
Oh, sure.
Protein powder.
Yep.
Other than that, I stick to making sure I eat enough protein, get enough sleep, work out, manage stress, do fun things. A lot of that is, I would say 80-20. Supplements are just 20 of it.
Yeah.
I really do.
I started noticing when I took or ate chicken or any type of meat product and ate it in the breakfast, I can have a huge difference in terms of like mental recovery, everything in terms of having a good day moving forward. Yeah, increasing the protein take early in the day helps so much on that side.
Bulking too, if you want to eat a lot of protein, I took a lot of digestive enzymes too.
Oh, sure,
It totally limited my stomach pain just from how much I had to eat to put on weight. It might be different for others, but that was also super helpful.
And I know we've in the past done, it's like a detox, more of a purification through standard process. There's a 21-day. I would do that maybe once a year or so. Tried gaining weight on it, ended up losing like 10 pounds because I didn't have too much to lose on that, but felt really good on it. And then working back some of those nutrients and this typical stuff that we eat back into it. But a lot of it's coming back down to the whole foods, making sure you're getting the quality stuff consumed in your body. For sure. Outside supplements. But
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Interesting.
Alrighty, everybody, that is all we have for you today. We hope you found some value. Please share this with anybody you know that you think would definitely understand and appreciate this information. We thank you guys continually for subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. It really does make a difference. Shows us that there are people out there that still appreciate the information that we give each week, and we enjoy doing it. So thank you guys again. Until next time, have yourself a great day.
Disclaimer: the content provided in this health podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. Reliance on any information provided in this podcast is solely at your own risk. The creators and hosts of this podcast are not responsible for any actions or decisions you may take based on the information presented.
Thanks for joining us on The Functional Code. For more evidence-based health insights, subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, your journey to a healthier you begins with understanding the Functional Code. Until next time, stay well, stay informed, and embrace the science of living well.